So as you know, we are a media platform and we do content creation for brands to amplify their message, their green initiatives. And we do it via articles, social media posts, newsletter features. And we do also, I can hear my voice, I'm sorry. Let me put my, do you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. Because I can hear, okay. And we have a new format, which is an influencer format. So we work with influencers and we do like a collective video with fashion, beauty, lifestyle, and F&B conscious brands. And the influencer showcase the products, give her opinion. And the idea is really to help the conscious brands to multiply their reach across the socials to make the buzz. So this is a new format, and we have done one video with Mayetan, which is this fashion influencer in Singapore 1 month ago, and we had like 25,000 views across Facebook and Instagram, which is a great reach. And so Alan and Gwen, I mean, if you're interested in joining such initiatives with us, let us know. I would be happy to share more by email. So we need to, yeah. So as you can see, we have the videos, the socials, the campaign with the influencers. You can see the profiles of the influencers, and we have the Conscious Festival. And because of the COVID-19, we had to rethink the business model, and now we are going virtual. So we had this first virtual festival, which happened in June, and we had 2,000 attendees online, and we are doing another one in October on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of October. And so we aim to gather 100 conscious brands, 50 speakers, and everything will be online. There will be virtual workshops, marketplace, and talks. And the idea is really to help you to gain in visibility, to reach out to customers online, and to educate people through all this content. So stay tuned, because we will send more information by email very soon if you want to participate. And Melisa, this is also for you. If you want to join the festival as a customer and just to enjoy the talks and to meet the brands, I will be happy to give you access to the event. And finally, we have this ethical marketplace, online affiliate marketplace, where we feature all the products of the members. And so to remind you that if you want to join the affiliate marketplace, you can connect with Stacy, and we will be happy to do the onboarding process. So this is new, and we have a monthly newsletter where we feature all the products and the discount code of the brands, and we send to 10,000 subscribers. So every month the subscribers will receive all your news and discount codes. So this is to give you like a short overview of what we are doing. And so now I would like just to come back here. Yes, so as you know, I'm sure you have already used Zoom before, but as you know, there is like a chat function on the right-hand side. And so at any point, feel free to drop in any questions, and Melisa will answer them as soon as the presentation ends. And now I would like to introduce you to Melisa. So Melisa Kang, who is the founder and managing partner of GI Capital Partners, which is a private equity investment management company headquartered in Singapore, and which focus solely on impact investing in Asia. So thank you so much, Melisa, for joining, and it's over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here today. When I must say, I prepared something and I'm going to introduce myself. But first, I want to say, when I received the topic from you, I don't understand a word in the topic. So I only see a
Yeah.
few buzzwords like chaos, funding, money. These are the words I see. The rest I didn't understand. So I guess it very much reflects how we are today in the world, you know. And I thought, okay, maybe what I should do is to prepare something that reflect where we are today in the world. And maybe what I can do is to attempt to bring some kind of order to in a time of a chaotic time or confusion time. So like like your introduction, I have been in investment for the last 20 over years in private investment all my career. And since about 8-9 years ago, I started investing with ESG lens and impact lens, and now we have our own firm to do the same thing. So in my daily life, I meet with companies that are raising capital. I'm also constantly raising capital myself because we need capital to invest. Having said that, I do not know anything that I think that not many, other people would already have known, I think. On the other hand, I may have something a little bit more than most because I look at the green is the new black. It's really most of the people in that community are young people, quite young. And I myself has been through now the COVID-19, the 5th crisis in my career. And every time after the crisis, I make a lot of money. So I thought maybe from there I can share something. Maybe it cannot benefit everyone who listen to this discussion, but maybe if we can help one person, and that is already quite successful. Okay, so I would start with sharing first. I want to share my slide. Let me see. I have prepared some slide. Okay, so can you guys see it? Okay, so this is first the pictures that I have found that show something very chaotic. This, I don't understand the picture, but it is about climate. Actually, it's about the situation of the climate, how it is today. So I thought it kind of resonate with what we try to discuss, in today's topic. So I will first introduce my firm briefly, and then we can go into some of the specific areas of consideration in capital raising. I'll try to provide some kind of analysis of the current situation that we are in. What does it really mean? And then we see whether we can come to some point of understanding how we can find money in such a confusing time. Okay. So I think Diane said we have 40 minutes. I think I will finish my slide within 15-20 minutes, and then after that we can do Q&A. I'm happy to do that. So as mentioned, JI Capital is a private equity firm that is solely focused on impact investing. In fact, we are very much pledged to 4 SDG, 3, 6, 12, and 13. We think these are the most important for Southeast Asia at this moment, being able to do businesses that can improve that good health and well-being of the people living here, bringing clean water sanitation, more action towards mitigating climate change challenges by being responsible producer, responsible consumer, very much in the same spirit as what Green is the New Black is trying to achieve. So through this, we think that there are 5 key industries that would contribute to this SDG. So typically we invest in businesses that are not startup. We tend to look at companies that are already around 4 to 5 years old. And we are looking at the ability to invest from $5 million to up to $15 million in a company for minority stake. And we also will bring in a lot of support to this company in terms of improving their cyber risk management, improving their approach towards sustainability and ESG practices. And we want to act as the financial partner for this company. So what we are really seeking are differentiated companies with what we call high impact entrepreneurs who already know something of certain industry, and many of the businesses will be kind of new, and they, on the other hand, the idea could be new, but the industry is there, and they are leveraging on technology and new business model to change the market and to meet the need of consumers. preferably in the low and middle income brackets and household. That's what we're looking at. So there are 5 industries that we are interested in. Food and agribusiness, we are really looking at healthy food, of access to, affordable yet healthy food, sustainable agricultural practices, sustainable farming. Southeast Asia has about 30% of its land, agricultural land, but the contribution to GDP is only 8 to 9%, extremely low tech, very facing severe problem of talent brain drain. So how can we bring technology, bring talents back to this industry, and trying to solve a very acute problem, right, which is food shortage on one hand, the other hand, food waste, as well as unhealthy or dangerous food. So this is one sector. We also have a lot of internal resources who understand water and circular economy. So we look at businesses in this area as well. Recycling agricultural waste to become energy, clean energy, recycling water to improve efficiency of consumption. And then climate change, we are not investing in building power plant. We are really investing in solution. For example, we are working with data analytic companies that help buildings reduce their consumption of energy by becoming more efficient. Not only they can save costs, they also save, reduce carbon footprint. Healthcare and education are 2 very key sectors for us as well, but our team is very much focused on affordability, access. So healthcare, we like healthcare services, diagnostic services, preventive healthcare. One of the businesses that we are looking at is improving or transforming maternal care in Southeast Asia to improve the quality or the health status of the newborn. Education, our focus is a lot on technology and also on training that can enable employment, rather than trying to invest in private school to bring people to Harvard, undergrad. We're not interested in that. We're interested in looking at helping young people getting skills so that they could be employed. Okay, so this is pretty much about GI Capital. Now I will jump into this topic. So as in any presentation, we always want to try to start, with some clever people's quote, right? And I found this one from the Tibetan Buddhist meditation master, Chogyam Trungpak. He said something which I kind of completely, if not 98% agree with him, that chaos could be regarded as extremely good news. As I mentioned earlier, I personally have been through multiple crises already, at least 4 before, and each time I come out better and I make good return from the change in the environment. Every time there's a crisis, there's a chaos, it brings you something that is very valuable. It enables you to do something, an opportunity. So I think with this mindset, we can jump in and say, okay, let's demystify the current situation that we are facing globally or even regionally as a result of COVID-19, and why is it good news, right? So I try to demystify the fundraising environment amidst COVID-19. So World Bank recently issued a report on the Indonesian economy. And they said that, okay, first thing, this is the worst crisis in 80 years. They also say this is going to be a very long, slow recovery, because this disease related, there's travel restrictions, it's going to take a long time. Our internal research team, we also spend a lot of time talking to companies. We've done a survey with many companies, and we also are a business ourselves. We do see that actually COVID-19 has brought along something that is valuable. It brought to us something called clarity, and it will give rise to many new business opportunities. First of all, if you are in technology business, we think everybody know already, the process towards digitalization will be accelerated. It's getting faster. So if you are in businesses that support that, you have an opportunity to grow your business faster now. We are people who care about sustainability, all of us here. The COVID-19, although may not directly link to some of this climate issue, but it does bring spotlight back to sustainability issue. So we can see that there is an increase and at least of awareness and we talk to global investors on a daily basis, there's an increase in interest to allocate capital to that. Already the potential pool of capital for sustainability is huge, right? And it's growing, but it will grow faster. But what is more important, we find that apart for capital digitization, is really on the at the human level. It really raised consciousness. It forced all of us to do things different. And many people change their life. They never look after their kid. They are forced to look after their kid. They never face their spouse. They are forced to face their spouse. They have to do many things quite different and work from home and all that, right? And you have your virtual drink with your friends and not meeting physically. All these and many others translate into change in consumer behavior. So if you're a business that is already considering how you can address the need of future consumer and you are starting a new business, this can be a much better time than, let's say, a year ago, where you try to catch on the bandwagon of a behavior that's been going on for 150 years. Now it's totally new landscape. So that is one, I think, a very important thing. It may, even economic pace could be slower in recovery, but certain area will recover much faster or grow much faster. The other thing that we hear every day, and the newspaper politicians are telling us, is about unemployment is rising. If I'm an employee to some companies, big companies, I probably will be very nervous, and many people will be very nervous, and many people have lost their job. But if you are listening to me here today, most likely you are an entrepreneur, then this is good news to you, because this is a great chance for you to find people who can work for you without having to chase after extremely high salary. You can actually offer the opportunity for this talent to look at the opportunity with a different lens, and not just about throwing the biggest sign-on bonus, the biggest guarantee bonus. And if that translates into your ability to attract more talent to join your team, it also means that you have a better chance of achieving your business plan. I think in any business that you want to do, whether it's like us in fund management or in any kind of business, people is the most critical. It's even more important than funding. Money is a commodity. Talent and skilled labor is not, right? So that and if you to lose your employees after training them, it's very costly. But the current environment, most people do not want to leave their job. They will hang on to it. Or if not, you also find people are being let go in the market are not due to their performance. It's just due to the bad environment, and everyone is forced to let go of people. So it is a great opportunity to find talent to build your business. The other thing we also hear and see is that they say all investors have disappeared. I think that statement is quite sweeping. I work with international investors on a daily basis. I must say that I think in certain regions, the investors have disappeared. For example, American investors largely have disappeared. They are dealing with multiple issues in their country, and especially for very large organizations, they are quite confused. However, if you are looking at investor in general, the irony is our stock market all stock market actually have recovered to pre-COVID-19 level. So there's a lot of money in the public market, but obviously it's very volatile market. There's lots of trading. So it's a very risky market. So discerning investor will not depend on that for their long-term return, right? They may be trading a lot, but that is not going to be something they want to do all the time. The market will come back to normalization at some point in time, and it will not be too long from now. Secondly, most government that has some means are giving out stimulus program, right? Cheap loans. So we are also in a very low interest environment, which means maybe previously you need to achieve 35% return to make investor happy. Now, if you achieve 20%, you are already outperforming because the interest return is so low. At some point in time, when people come to their senses, they may want to start investing in equity because interest is really low. You just can't keep putting money in bonds and lending program. Some of this you already know, government has launched many programs, but it is all complex, may not be so easy to raise money. One other observation we see is very large brand, very large bank. These are the worst institutions because they comprise of many people who work there. Most of them have very high pay, they would have already got a pay cut, and most of them have a probably high cost of living, and they are scared of losing their job. So I'm generalizing, but I speak to many of these people, and I find that many of them are not making any decision. So if you are raising money, I think be realistic. If you are trying to get capital from very branded asset manager, I think it is the toughest place. The other thing also we learned in this process, in at least the last 3-4 months, as we keep talking to investors, we also find that, and ourselves, we are invested too. If we are not interested in looking for distress or looking for a cheap buy, we continue to be interested to look for talent, look for ideas, and why I put capital there is this a value investment rather than am I paying for something that is worthwhile, rather than am I paying for something that is cheap. We don't really care about cheap or is in distress. So one other thing we find as a result of this restriction on travel due to COVID-19, increasingly people are becoming more localized and shorter term and very much liquidity focused. They want to know that they can get their money back quicker. Shorter term horizon, instead of say commit 5 years with me, they want shorter time. That has some implication also on our business or everybody's business. If you're trying to do a global business, I would say let's try to build the local domestic footprint and the regional footprint before spending your money to try to build a global footprint in general. But maybe some other business you need to do that, but it's harder when there is no travel flexibility. So after we understand and analyze the environment, at least this is from our perspective, I like to share that maybe there are 3 key and anything we want to do, 3 key considerations. I think in fundraising is a very important aspect of building a business. Fundraising is like blood transfusion, right, into a business to make it grow. So I tend to think that it's quite important to frame our goals, our thoughts, and what are the action. So I put it into 3 verticals. The first one, I said sustainability. Okay, what do I mean by sustainability in this context of fundraising? Is actually, I'm an entrepreneur myself as well. I also raise money for my company and my program. I would say, when is the best time to start raising money? Should I raise money after I build certain milestone, or should I start raising money even before I build, just based on a paper concept? Because there are different investors who like different things, so you should approach different people for that, right? And then how much capital I should raise. My general advice is you should always raise money as early as you can. It does not mean that you go and start raising money early means you can get it. No, but you start engaging and start communicating so that the investor out there are aware of your business, and you can start getting feedback to know what they are looking for, so you can build your business according to customer. I mean, you should see investor as customer feedback. And in terms of how much money you should raise, I think you should always raise more money than you need, so that you don't have to, because in all startup business, all business or any business, you have a plan. It will always take a bit longer than what you think. Sometimes it's a bit faster, but most of the time it takes a bit longer. So it's always good to have a buffer. But in the context of COVID-19, we know that delay is going to happen quite often. So if you think that you need 2 million, maybe you want to raise 2.5 million just to build in some buffer. It does not really matter. You say, oh, I don't want to dilute, I want to keep more equity. It does not matter, because 199 multiplied by 0 is 0, right? You need to get momentum. I think that is the most important, and get the business growing and keep it safe. Then the other question that sometimes we ask ourselves, can we stop raising money? Because raising money is really a very bad thing. It's so humiliating and demeaning. And I don't want to do that. But I'm afraid that in any business you do, even after your business is listed and become a public company, fundraising is a non-stop thing. You just keep raising capital. Because if you want to grow, unless you don't want to grow your business, then you don't have to. Why are companies holding analyst meeting, listed company? Why are they holding events and, publicity. Why are they advertising? Because they need to keep raising capital for their business. You need shareholders, investors to be interested in your company. So as long as you start a business, fundraising never stops. Okay, that's another of my experience. So it's very important to know what you have and what you don't have, and then focus on that. This is quite an important part of the business. And then I said here, be a duck. What do I mean? If we go to the pond and we look at a duck, they always look very calm, right? Then you dive into the water, you look at their feet, they're really paddling like crazy. So no matter how much they're paddling, above is very calm. So as an investor myself, and also I know investors, most people do not want to invest in companies that are distressed, or people who are, if you don't get the capital tomorrow, they're going to close. They don't want that kind of company, right? We only see that in a movie, very dramatic, right? Oh, I put in this money, if not tomorrow, your business will. Those are not real. In real life, investors want to invest in businesses that don't need their money, and they're not interested in this, right? So you need to be very calm, very cool, and understand what you need, and know that even if the investors say no, your business continue. I think that is first one. That's what I meant by sustainability. So when I mentioned earlier that we need to keep raising money, does it mean that we get money from everybody? So that comes to my second vertical, which is selectivity. What do I mean by that? So one thing as an owner of business, is quite important to think about your investor. What is your dream investor? What are the characteristics of the investor you want? Is it someone who has a lot of money and don't care what happened? Is that someone who actually not just bring money, also bring you something else, or bring you a brand, or bring you some help? That you need to understand. And in today's world, I think it's even more important to bring in investors who have a little bit staying power, stamina, and who can continue to support your business regardless of what happened. So not just this round. They could still, if some investors say, we only do seed round and that's it, maybe that's not the right investor. You want an investor that can support you at least in 2 rounds, so that you know your company will not be caught in a very bad situation when you need money. Then obviously, where can you find them? How do you find them? I think if you're in some talks, webinars and conferences, these are some places that you can't invest, but I have some other pointers on that, where you can find investors. But in today's world, I think it's very important to look for long-term partners and be very selective on who you pick, because money, you must remember this, right? All of us must remember. I also remind myself every day. Money is a commodity. You can find money anywhere, everywhere. Ideas, talents are rare. So is that what you have? They don't have it. So as much as you think that investors are choosing you, come on, you are choosing them too. Okay, so if you don't think that is the right investor, it's not someone you can work with, don't take their money. I mean, a slight twist to this is also, today in the world, there's also a lot of money available that they will invest in anything. It's for, let's say, money laundering purposes. There are lots of capital around. Do you want to take that money? Right? So money that have implication that will stay in your business forever. Maybe you don't want that, right? An investor that have other agenda than to support your company, then maybe you don't want that capital or that investor. Then the third vertical is being creative, creativity. I said, okay, so being creative is, if you have started any business, you always need to know what is the macro outlook of your industry and what is going on with your competitors. And you need to understand what is the risk of your industry and how can you articulate to investors that you have ways or methodology that you can reduce or mitigate that risk to a very low level. The second point, and because we are in a very high risk environment, right? Even the perceived risk is much higher. So that is one important communication you need to, narratives you need to have with investors. The other part is about your product or your services, right? So are you differentiated? This is a very confusing element in fundraising. It's difficult because most investors say we want to look for a differentiated company. But I also find that when the business is too differentiated, no one has done it before, a lot of investors shy away because investors are so risk averse. So you cannot be 100% differentiated. You actually need to have something that others are also doing and proven and you prove that you can do the same, and you do a little bit extra. So that's where it leads me to say you need to be creative, but you also need to be fairly grounded, that you have proof to say that your firm is doing something that works. It's not 100% new. No one has done it before. Even if you're doing something very sustainable, somehow you need to show that you can do something that is a low-hanging fruit to reduce the risk of your business. So these are the 3 verticals. If you have questions, we can deal with that afterwards. So where's the money, right? So we say, Melisa, you talk so much now. Where can I find money? So as all entrepreneurs, we always start with our friends and family. This really depends on the stage of your business, right? I don't know how early or how late your business is. Today in this environment, money is very tight. That is true. When I say friends and family, it doesn't necessarily mean that you take money from them, but sometimes through their network, they may know somebody that can introduce you to. And if you already have an investor, your shareholder could be still a source of capital to support you. The other group of people that are very much, sometimes we don't think about, is your employees. Your employees can also help you find capital. Obviously, they can help you find capital by generating more sales, more money flowing. But sometimes I see many companies are doing that. They structure deferred salary or bonuses, restructure the contracts so that the company can reduce the burn and then give them a big bonus, or give them share options to, prolong the lifeline of the company. There are also some, many money lending platforms available in the market, intermediaries. In the technology space, we also know that there are certain fast-track accreditation programs that enable small companies to be accredited so they can get deal faster. There's one other way. Banks, finance company, all this, PE fund, VC, family offices, and all this. But some of the unusual one that people don't really think about is listed companies. Listed company is also a potential investor, because many listed companies usually list their company, especially in Asia, after they are kind of mature and they're running out of ideas. So you'll be surprised, some of them are looking for new ideas to grow the next phase, or to capture or leverage on this change in the environment. So listed company could be an investor, not just necessarily go to VC or foundation, or some of this usual venture capital or angel. Sometimes listed company could be an investor. You obviously probably know this already. You also can find capital from your suppliers. Sometimes suppliers can give you longer credit terms. Sometimes suppliers may even want to invest. I have seen one company, the supplier actually invested in them because the supplier need them to succeed, and it will help the supplier. We also seen customers who put money in. We've seen customers who put down payments. So customer is another potential source, but this is an art, right? You need to be able to manage that carefully. And in some cases, even competitors, potential competitors, that you may be able to form some alliance and generate some capital, because everybody is in a situation. Maybe you should do an M&A or something, and then create more resources together. There's one other group that you can try to find money there, and I put it as the last point, is professional fundraiser and advisor. I think this is a very tricky one. Why I say that is because I have come across quite a number of young companies. They actually get been kind of tricked by professional fundraiser and advisor by paying retainers and all kinds of fees. Like, I'm raising 3 million. He said, you need to pay me 20,000 to help you. They paid the 20,000. The guy never raised the money. 20,000. Don't do that. That's what I'm saying. Just be careful with that. Actually, many people has also approached us. They say, oh, we can help you raise capital for your fund. Pay us this. And we say no. We say no. But they still sign, and then we test out. We rather pay a higher success fee than to pay a retainer, because you need to keep the cash to keep your business going. So this kind of capital, you need to be very careful. And even you use a fundraiser, the people they're going to approach are the same list that I mentioned there, most of them, and the value add could be quite limited. So some of the other consideration I think we can discuss here is about how to get money now. Now we know where the money is, so how to get money. I think first of all, as I brought up earlier, is risk is very important. How to manage the risk and how to transform risk to your advantage. So when investors, you need to understand the psychology of investors. So if they are very risk averse, you need to create a situation whereby risk in your business is very low or very manageable. Okay, therefore why I mentioned earlier, you need to always keep your business above water and assure investor that your company will not fall, will not go belly up. Therefore, both business model whereby you need to burn a lot of cash to wait for an outcome, I think it's not very attractive. But businesses that can better attract revenue in investing and then get revenue, I think that may be better for most investors to digest this day. Also, the other thing is, although we think that risk is getting higher or people perceive risk is getting higher, the opportunity cost right now is quite low. So it may enable you to do certain things or give up on certain project without losing too much. So being very clever about thinking about risk is one thing. I've also put here cash flow is a risk. What do I mean by that? It is back to the same story I mentioned. So sometimes if you have cash in your hand, you need to value. If you have $1 million in your hand, you need to value that 1 million like 100 million, because just be very, very frugal with that cash, because sometimes you have the cash and you think, okay, I can afford to appoint this guy, that guy, and all that, or a consultant, and you may not get the result that you are looking for. So not being able to manage your cash flow, or you have too much cash, you need to be very thoughtful about that. The other point is about, again, the same point of being a duck, right? When the whole world is uncertain, when everybody is unclear, you need to be very clear in the midst of this uncertainty. Where is your position? How do you prioritize your resources? And none of us can work alone. So we need to work with our team. Therefore, setting clear vision, clear goals that can be delivered, will also help to boost your team morale. So if you have a conversation with your team, say, we need to defer your salary, we redesign, do it once and not talk about it every day, but focus on their success, right? So in this is a time where you want to reward even small successes more than you normally do. Recognize, provide recognition, right? Giving a free meal or something, things like that is very important. And you find yourself like always in a very lonely place. Previously, you could go out and have a drink. Now you can't even go out and have a drink. And I would think it's quite important. I do that myself too. You need to find something that is therapeutic for yourself. I'm not suggesting seeing a psychiatrist. I really mean find something you find therapeutic. Maybe it's running, exercising, cooking, singing, whatever you can do to manage yourself so that you can spill over that strong spirit. And also not forgetting to continue to develop your team in this difficult time. Even if you are very tight on money, find other ways to, take advantage of grants that government give on training, for example. Sign on free courses, webinar, whatever you can. Keep developing yourself, develop the team, because opportunity cost is very low. The last 2 points, I think I won't talk about the consultant. I mentioned that again. Instead of paying somebody to raise money for you and take the pressure off, is an artificial approach. I think a better way is to create an opportunity to form a partnership with this so-called advisor and consultant, because even they can make an introduction to some investor. Ultimately, you are the one that is pitching. The owner of business are always the one that is pitching. So instead of paying high retainer, maybe transform that into more based on success, and don't rush into signing contract. Maybe you want to shop around, find a few. If you have decided you want a consultant, try to find a few first. And last but not least, in this very challenging time where cash is king, risk is perceived high, continue to build relationship with people. You never know who can come in to help you. And sometimes when you don't think about the cash, don't think about the money, they will just come seriously. Because when we start focusing too much on the cash and the money, we start to sound a little bit desperate, and then people get very scared. Their sensor for this is very high right now, so we can't. We need to manage that approach, I think. So somebody I know has come up with a B, C, D, E, F, G kind of approach, right? So I also have my A, B, C, D, E, F, G approach. So I say, A, we need to stay active. I really personally, I don't like this work from home approach. Especially for me right now, my neighbor is renovating. It's crazy. I just can't do any calls. So we have a nice office, and I will come to the office every day. And I also find that in some people I know, staying at home translate into working half time and productivity goes down, or some people go crazy. So stay active by trying to do it more and not do less or become part holiday. I think that is quite key. Secondly is B, if you offer already a good solution, now you need to offer a better solution, and therefore you do the same with whoever that is supporting you, that they need to give you a better solution, because you are also a consumer, you are also a customer, you can demand more. And I also come across people that get very discouraged and lost at the moment. I think if there's any time that we can be very courageous, this is the kind of time that we can be very brave and courageous, because the alternative, the cost is very low, right? It's not like we're going to lose a lot. We know already what we can lose, so why don't we take a bit more courage and move forward and go and speak to people? Or, you know, in this case, what I really mean is, you want to raise money, you need to talk to someone. Let's say you need to talk to your cousin or your somebody you know, you never asked before. You have nothing to lose. You can ask. Discerning is very important. Discerning means understanding the other party. You need to understand that a lot more now, and also not walk into traps again, because you need to know, if you are very hungry, everybody out there are hungrier than you. So you need to know where exactly, who is the right partner, who is the one that can really come in to help you. And similarly, when you are, let's say you are in a position to hire employees to help you, you have a lot more opportunity to select, and now you can select the best one without overpaying, I would say. People, that's why E for me is emphasizing on empathizing with your shareholders. So if you already have shareholders and they're putting pressure on you today, instead of having run into very difficult arguments and unhappiness because maybe your business plan is behind, or employee who is, you know, not performing, or customer who is demanding, maybe try to be in their shoe and then find a solution. Instead of, the point is really, don't get yourself caught in a very unhappy situation, because it will hurt your morale, it will hurt your drive, and then you can't push forward your plan. So this is really self-management. So last but not least, this is the last point, is really, this is a great opportunity to build something to flourish healthily and vigorous way, especially sustainable business. So I am pushing for that every day, and I hope that everybody can get there as well. This is a really good time to make that happen. So this is the end of my presentation. I'm going to close the deck and open for Q&A. So let me see what I can do. Okay. So I see there's one. Is there a way a company is in distress because the industry shift, but otherwise itself is not in distress? Okay, it's a very interesting question, right? Okay, so this question I can relate it to my business. Okay, so I'm in the fund management industry. So obviously, many people are struggling with portfolio problem. Okay, right now I talk to investors, many of them are trying to rescue. So we are a fairly new fund manager, right? We only set up 2 years ago, so we don't really have a lot of legacy portfolio. So we tell investors, actually think about it. We are in a better position than most, because we don't need to spend our time to rescue company. We are able to use our time to look for the best opportunity. So likewise, the way to articulate is, if the whole industry is in distress, you can find maybe, okay, one example I know, it's a food company in Vietnam that we've been working with for a while. They were raising money to expand their facility, to buy more machines. now because of COVID-19, one of the competitors is belly up. There's a lot of new machine there which they can buy for a song. So that is probably also another way, and you must be able to also articulate that to investor, right, to see the opportunity. And if you are not in distress, that is even better, right? This is a total complete way to distinguish yourself from the others, separating the men from the boys, that's what they say. So is there any other question? I don't see any more. Okay, Alan? So Diane, I say Alan raised hand, what does that mean?
Yes, that's a good question. This is the first time I see this. Alan, do you have any questions? If yes, you can just type your question. You can type your there is a message. Yes.
Oh,
so,
there is something here.
Okay, so we wait a few seconds. Alan will type the questions.
Sure. See, the one of the point that I was actually trying to say when I mentioned be discerning, empathize with your shareholders, I really mean this is a very stressful time and people may be very fearful and uncomfortable, and just avoid any situation of getting into conflict or where you end up having to go into litigation or spending money on lawyers. That is something you also want to avoid. By avoiding that, you already get, save money and try to resolve problem rather than get into a very conflict situation.
So Alan, do you? I don't see the question. Gwen, Varun, Alan, no more questions. So Alan just dropped in a question. Melisa, you have a new question from Alan.
Actually, I have, okay, I see. Okay, let me see. I noticed that you're also interested in ways by nature of the industry isn't attractive and deal with the industry process. Now in changing this, how does a company? Okay. We are not looking at all kinds of waste, actually. We are looking at a lot of agricultural waste, for example. How does the company raise funds from a new way of pushing? Yeah. Actually, this is great news because waste recycling conventionally is a very dirty business, right? And a lot of people don't like it. But now, because there's this new flow of capital that is available for what now is the fancy name, it's called circular economy. But obviously, the expectation is a lot higher. There's actually a lot of money available in the market that want to invest in business in this industry. The only issue is it depends on where you are, because in the conventional ways, like let's say PET bottle and things like that, they are very much controlled by mafia. It's very hard to start, right? So one of the deals that we are working on is actually collecting palm oil waste, because palm oil is very controversial. They create a lot of waste, a lot of burning, pollution. But some of the waste in palm oil can be used for biofuel, which create, clean energy, low cost energy, and reduce carbon footprint. So those investment opportunity, there are a lot of investors who are interested, and they are very lucrative business as well. The reason is because in Southeast Asia, there are many small scale operators, farmers, and they don't have good waste management system. So in the new approaches, you don't just collect the waste, you actually have to help this farmer become sustainable farming, sustainable estate. So we do need to bring in certain practices to upgrade them so that they become sustainable. And when it's sustainable, this waste has a lot of application, there's a lot of customers available globally to buy them at very good profit margin. So that is one. I don't know what type of waste you are thinking, but agri waste is one area that we like.
Any other questions?
I can share another example. So, for example, Singapore as a country is very now trying to move towards sustainability. But it's interesting to know that Singapore only managed to recycle 16% of its food waste, which is a very low number, right? And then the government has set a target to recycle 100% of its food waste. So there's a lot of opportunity for a company to come up with models and get the license to collect the waste. And because the city is quite well organized, with food centers and all that, food, in many countries, you collect food waste from the industry, from the manufacturer, but Singapore is more like food waste from restaurants and all that. So we have a lot of hawker centers, food centers that food waste is collected already. So if you have a technology that can recycle them to create zero, because we run out of landfill, or they don't want to burn more. So this is another business, and there are capital available for this kind of businesses.
Nice.
Okay, we see more typing. Okay, for a small independent that has never raised fund or fund, the business is one suitable for fundraising. Oh, okay. Okay. So let me finish with Alan's question first, then I'll come to Gwen. So yes, food waste, I mentioned there's a lot of interest, but what is the waste used for? Right? Paper is a pretty proven industry, it's recycled, but that business, we find that the profit margin is really thin, okay? Plastic waste, again, in itself, personally, I find the solution for plastic waste is not so much about recycling, it's really to replace plastic. But if anything that is deal with a lot of collections and consumer, which is very retail oriented, you tend to find a very difficult area to navigate. But if you are working B2B, the ability to create interest in the business and scale the business is a lot higher, and there are much interest. Okay, there are many funds that I know that have allocation to invest in this space. So the other one question, and if I haven't finished answering your question, you can come back again, Ellen. Gwen's question, right? How do you ascertain whether business is suitable for fundraising? It's a very straightforward one, really, because you want to raise money from investor. It's, let's say, an investor who want, the word investor means they expect a financial return. Then you need to ask yourself, is your business profitable? Is your business capable of being profitable, right? Whatever you sell, you make, or you produce can give you a higher revenue than what it costs you to produce it. And it can grow, right? There's a big potential industry possibility to grow this to a bigger scale. Then most likely you can raise capital for it. But if it's in the impact investment space, where I'm focusing on, but in addition to whether you can make profit, we also ask the question that if your business create a positive impact to society or a positive impact to the environment. So for impact investor, that is what they will ask. Then what is that particular impact that you create? Can we measure that, right? And is that meaningful or not? So if it's measurable and meaningful, then yes, and potentially you can make return out of it. You can raise money, even if your business is still not so big at this point in time, it will still be possible. Because the investment world is made up of all kinds of investors, right? Some investor invest a few $100,000 to investor who invest tens of millions of dollars. So there will always be investors who are interested. You just need to find out where to find these people. Okay.
Okay. So I think what would be great is Melisa, if you are okay, if we can share your contact details with Alan, Gwen, and Varun. So if they have any other questions, more personal related to their business, so they can ask you.
Yeah. So I'm happy to share my email address. You can also find me on LinkedIn. Okay. I will type my email address here. You can contact me.
No worries. I will share with you.
Oh, you will share. Okay.
I will send an email recap.